So your data is not even your data anymore with Microsoft. Yeah. Why are you using Microsoft products?
And that's where I think the removal of, it really, the onus is on us to, stop feeding these things. There was a 2006 paper by Assange called Conspiracy as Governance that kind of is basically the white paper for WikiLeaks. And he talks about the need for us as citizens to increase the cost of the conspiracy against us. And I think in regards to AI, the way that we do that is we stop feeding them the data that they need to, if we feed them bullshit data, it gives them more shit to process, more things to parse. The thing that AI really does for them in the panopticon that we're in is it helps them parse through all of the surveyed data really, really quickly. So if we are really careful with what data that we feed them, AI is a great tool for them for decreasing the cost of their conspiracy of general surveillance. They don't need to, hire, 1,000 people to parse through all of our chats. They can just have one thing search for, oh shit, these guys said Hamas sleeper cells, boom. And then they, now they're looking at all their things, they flag them. So, it's really important for us to not, expose our data by using and agreeing to these user agreements where we let, like what Whitney just said, using all of your data on your Microsoft product is theirs. It's their AI. Without that data, this AI is completely useless. So we need to increase the cost of the conspiracy against us very carefully, and that's really how we do it, is limiting our exposure to their systems. Hey, maybe if we want to set up a bunch of APIs that feed a bunch of bullshit data into, Sammy Altman's thing, sure, let's go do that. But that's not something that everybody can do. That's not a practical thing for, for my parents or a day-to-day, user of the internet. But understanding that, data is the most liquid commodity in the world, and there's huge speculative markets for data. There's huge data brokers that sell, billions of people's data for pennies on the dollar to these companies that, there's so much stuff in data brokers. It gets so crazy. And I think AI and data and surveillance have a huge sort of, they're odd bedfellows. And we have to just be really careful about what we feed into it and what we let out incidentally. Because again, convenience is the easiest way to leak all of this stuff. It's, you use Facebook. I mean, that's what Facebook really was. It was how do we get everybody to tag their faces, tag where they are, say what they're doing, I don't know. I think it's exceptionally important for us to understand that our data is feeding these products and make it worse for everyone else. It is sort of it's a team sport, much like privacy on Bitcoin, right? It's if you do good privacy tactics, it makes everyone's privacy better. It's kind of the same thing with how we deal with AI and these learning language models and these data harvesting techniques. It's the better we are, the harder it is for everyone else to triangulate, because that's how data markets really work. It's triangulation.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on the open source models that really get away, especially when you add the Lightning Network paywalls, because that's a big problem for people. That's what OpenAI does very easily. It's you pay a monthly fee, you get access, you just do this thing. Whereas if you were to set up an open source model, you'd have to run it, you have to get a cloud server or whatever, a cloud GPU, host it, and then host it locally to some extent. But where the Lightning Network comes in, makes it very easy for people to do all that hosting. You just pay a Lightning Network paywall. You don't have your identity attached to that at all. And again, they're reaching parity with the ChatGPTs of the world, which is good.
Well, I mean, the most important thing here is divest from big tech, specifically the ones that are contractors with the national security state and have essentially fused with the national security state. So Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Oracle, all the big ones, Facebook, all the big ones.
Do you still have your Bitcoin on an exchange? Don't hold your Bitcoin on an exchange. Take it into self-custody. If you're looking for an easy way to do that, we have the BitKey. BitKey is Bitcoin made easy to use and hard to lose. Take the first step, get your Bitcoin off the exchange. Check out the link in the show notes. That'll get you 20% off your BitKey, or use the code TFTC20.
That are obvious, have obvious documentable intelligence connections from their beginnings to now, those are the ones to avoid that we should definitely not be using. And I think also something that needs to happen is that supporting that kind of stuff and saying like, oh, we shouldn't divest, like don't be a martyr and don't fight the system, whether it's like for Bitcoin or like big tech or whatever, like that needs to become culturally unpopular for people who actually care about like individual freedom and protecting it, you know?
Yeah.
Like that stuff should be called out for what it is, whether the people saying it like know it or not, then give them the opportunity to be educated about it, you know? But if, you know, there's a lot of infiltration going on right now to get people to acquiesce to this kind of stuff, or saying it's inevitable, or saying it will be good for you, or you, little guy, will become part of the privileged class.
Yeah.
You know, that's all fake, and that's not what's going to happen. It's just to get you to be complacent and not to do anything about what they're doing.